Wonders if Rocket Ron Haslam can get back into contention with a victory today. It won't be easy in such a competitive field. Ron and series leader Wayne Gardner talked to Tony Francis.
Ron, you're the reigning Superbike champion. You've got a lot to do, though, to get this one back, haven't you?
Yeah, I had a bit of bad luck in the first one. Managed to get a puncture towards the end where I thought I was going to win it. But so there's quite a bit to do.
Birthday today, I suppose a victory would be the best celebration, wouldn't it?
Oh, yeah. Just to get a win, you know, of Wayne and Rob, you know, that'd be enough for me.
And you'll be going all out to make it an unhappy birthday for him on the track, I guess, Wayne.
Well, not necessarily unhappy birthday. I mean, I wish him all his best for his birthday, but I, of course, like to win as well as Ron, as well as every other rider in the race, otherwise we wouldn't race. But I'm certainly going to try and win, yeah, I'm going to... but I've also got a bit of a head start in the points, so I'm pretty lucky that way, so I've got to also ride a little bit of a tactical race and just try and finish as well. But if I can win easy enough and comfortable, then sure, I'll try, but if not, you know, I'll just finish a place.
A lot of rivalry between you, but you're good pals too, yes?
Yeah, in the paddocks and, well, off the circuit. The rivalry is only when we go out there, you know, and then you could say there's no friends out there, you know, being, you know, everybody wants to win, same as Wayne says. You know.
A quick word about the Grand Prix circuit, Wayne. 3/3, you're lying 4th at the moment.
Yes, well, the leading is Freddie Spencer, we're leading the World Championship. Second's Eddie Lawson, third's Christian Saron. I had some bad luck at Austria where I got no points and Christian got away on me. I was in 3rd position earlier on the year, but I slipped back to 4th. And Ronnie's 5th and Randy's 6th, so it's all pretty tired, and apparently Ronnie said there's all 9 points between all the places. So it's only halfway to the year of the season at the moment. So it's still a long way to go, and I'm still going to keep trying and try and get that 3rd if I can get back.
Thanks a lot, fellas. All the best today.
Thank you very much.
Yes, now for the World of Sport Superbike Challenge, the second round. They're on the grid just before they start their 2 warm-up laps. 18 laps of the race to go. Let's join our commentary team, Peter Clifford and Chris Carter.
So the grid moves off on the start of the first of 2 warm-up laps before this, the second round of the World of Sport Superbike Challenge. And there has been a little bit of drizzle in the last few minutes, enough to leave the team manager, and you saw then just how slippy it was. One of the riders got a nasty little slide on the red gate. All the riders are on slick tyres because conditions have been improving steadily. But I don't need to remind viewers who saw the earlier 350cc race when Donny McLeod went sliding off on a wet and slippery track, followed by 3 other riders, that when there's a little bit of water, just a small amount of rain on this Donington Park circuit, it can catch out the unwary. So the riders going around on what is primarily a warm-up lap to warm up the tyres, but is also very much a question of finding out how wet and how much grip the tyres have got.
Yes, you see, these slick racing tyres require that they warm up to a working temperature so that they operate like a mixture of chewing gum and plasticine and sort of mould themselves around the circuit to work properly. Now, in cold, damp conditions, they can't do this, and they need a sort of a soft compound with a tread pattern on it to cut through the film of water and to warm up better so that the tyres can operate properly if it has been raining. And what the riders are now trying to decide for themselves is whether the track is damp enough to require putting on intermediate treaded tyres or whether they should remain with the slicks. If they do put on the intermediate treaded tyres and the circuit dries up during the race, those tyres will overheat, the rubber will be shredded off, and they'll be sliding around just as badly as if they were on the slick tyres in the wet. So it's a really tricky problem at this point of time as to what tyres they should use.
Well, the first warm-up lap completed, and people still taking it very, very carefully. Others winding on the power just to see how much power, how much adhesion. And there we saw Paul Lewis with his teammate Rob McElnay. Lewis making his debut on the Skoal Bandit Suzuki in this race today, and well, it's exciting news for many race enthusiasts, but there are 1 or 2 of his fellow competitors who probably don't feel quite so excited at the prospects of Paul Lewis being let amongst them with a factory Suzuki. So we shall watch with interest as to Lewis's performance and progress today. There is Wayne Gardner, the man who leaves the championship leader, and there is the camera on Wayne Gardner's bike. This is live pictures and you can see spots of rain on the fairing. So there we are. We shall be using that camera. There is Wayne Gardner. We saw a shot of the camera mounted on Wayne's bike. The shots then projected, transmitted. There's another shot. The picture then being transmitted to a helicopter hovering over the Donington Park circuit, coming into the chicane now, peeling over to the right and into the left. You can see the spots of rain there on the fairing from the drizzle around the circuit, and the prospect of seeing that camera in action during the actual race really is quite exciting. We look forward to that with a great deal of interest. So here we go then, back on the grid, and some worrying moments. You can see the Ron Haslam's visor being wiped at the moment. Ron Haslam is in pole position on the grid,
and it looks as though everyone's decided to go with the slick full dry racing tyres, but there's a mechanic just adding some tape to the front of Roger Marshall's fairing so that he tapes up the radiator so that the engine will remain hot during the race. If it has too much radiator area in the cold weather, the engine cools down and can actually seize because it's got too cold. So the mechanic's taping up some of the radiator area there, but they're all going to stick with the perfectly smooth tyres as you see in the picture there.
So a quick rundown then of the first row of the grid. Ron Haslam in pole position, 1 minute 15 seconds his best lap. Next to him, number 11, Roger Marshall. On the other Rothmans Honda Britain machine, 1 minute 16.6. Steve Henshaw, the privateer, will come in on bike number 27 to fill that middle position. Next to him, Steve Parrish, bike number 6. Then number 31, Alan Jeffrey, the train driver from Melton Mowbray. A great ride from him. He had a good meeting at Mallory Park a couple of weeks ago, and he's right on form. Second row of the grid, Mark Sal. Number 16, Keith Hewan on the SDC Honda, and all the SDC gang are here today to cheer Keith Hewan on to what will hopefully be one of his better results this year. Things not been going too well. Lots of mechanical rolls. Then number 9, Roger Burnett. There's the view from the machine of Wayne Gardner. The red flag is up there under starter's orders. The traffic lights will change, and there's the picture as Gardner goes through. He's in fifth position. You saw somebody come right across the front wheel. Gardner looking for the inside line. There's number 7, Gardner. You can see on the inside, and it's Haslam. Once again, Ron Haslam. He makes some tremendous starts in every kind of race, including Grand Prix. And Ron Haslam, on his 29th birthday, leads here at Donington Park.
And it looks as though Paul Lewis may be up into second place.
So Haslam in the lead, Paul Lewis on the Skull Bandit Suzuki, his debut ride. And that's Roger Marshall in third position, the rest of the field going through. Haslam from Paul Lewis from Roger Marshall, and Haslam certainly prepared to make the most of this excellent start. 18 laps, of course, ahead of us. And Haslam, the birthday boy, looking for what he hopes will be the first part of his birthday treat. He wants to win here today, and he wants to win tomorrow the King of Donington title here at Donington Park. Haslam, number 5, the factory Honda. Paul Lewis in second place, then Roger Marshall. In third position is Roger Burnett, in fourth position, Roger Burnett, in fact, and that's a good ride from Roger Burnett. He told the Honda people that they should have ready a spare fairing for him this weekend because he wants to try and bringing up the tail end of the field. David Griffith there, and that's just amazing to see him, particularly in wet conditions. Haslam out in front and pulling away. This is the end of the first lap. In second place then is Paul Lewis off the third row of the grid. In third position, Roger Marshall. Fourth is number 9, Roger Burnett. In fifth position, number 18, Graham Wood. And in sixth position, number 33, Rob McElnay. That's Lewis's teammate. And there is Lewis in second position, having to have 2 bites of the cherry on that particular corner. Roger Marshall 4 times the British champion. Paul Lewis there, by number 22, and Lewis has waited 2 long seasons for this chance, and that is a chance he intends to take. And David Griffiths, in fact, has pulled out of the race already. Dave Griffiths, who we saw at the tail end of the field. There's Paul Lewis on the Skull Bandit Suzuki, the diminutive little Australian, stands about 5 feet 4 inches tall, weighs 9 stone wet through if he's lucky. And Roger Marshall, a spectacular moment there, and that's Rob McElnay coming through. Steve Parrish there at the back end of that group, and Lewis meandering down the back straight hoping to shake Roger Marshall out of his slipstream, and Marshall's with him as they go through the chicane. This is second and third place. Then it's Rob McElnay, then it's Wayne Gardner, then Roger Burnett, then Graham Wood, and then Alan Jeffrey. And that's an excellent ride from Alan Jeffrey, but very, very impressive performance. Gary Lingham, number 14, going through, not having the best of run at the moment. And there is Ron Haslam, a man who is having a good run at the moment. Haslam out in front. 7.7 seconds the lead for Ron Haslam after 2 laps. Well, Haslam was leading the opening round of the World of Sport Superbike Challenge back in April. You'll remember that he had a rear tyre puncture, a huge chunk of rubber flew off Ron's bike, and that put him out, and lucky not to crash. But Haslam went out when he got a comfortable lead. Well, he needs to do well in this round and round 2 if he's going to be in there to retain his title. And Haslam on his own. Absolutely amazing. Underneath the Dunlop Bridge, and the rest of the field not in sight yet. And still no sight of any of the opposition. Underneath the Dunlop Bridge they come now. It's the Paul Lewis-Roger Marshall battle. And Marshall finds the inside line and passes Paul Lewis, and Wayne Gardner is now up into 4th position just behind him with Rob McElnay, and Paul Lewis is in the slipstream of Roger Marshall. This is the battle for 2nd and 3rd place. Marshall and Paul Lewis, Roger Marshall, Paul Lewis, and Lewis so close to throwing it away there. That really was a nasty moment there. Paul Lewis, obviously very, very keen to do well in this race. You can't really blame him for wanting to do well, but certain amount of over-exuberance then nearly bringing him to disaster. And here's a chance to see it again.
Yeah, Paul Lewis looking for his line there, and he gets the back end slide. You could see the black mark lay down as he twitched and the back end slid, and it came back and nearly kicked him off onto the grass.
Wayne Gardner then, 3 laps completed, and after 3 laps, would you believe it, Ron Haslam 11.6 seconds in the lead. And Gardner looking for a way around Lewis, and he's got past Paul Lewis as well, so Lewis has gone back from 2nd to 4th. A big wheelie there from Wayne Gardner. Rob McElnay now will be looking for a way past Lewis. Roger Marshall there in 2nd place. What a great ride from Roger Marshall. Wayne Gardner. And in fact, Rob McElnay had gone up. Keith Hewen going well there on the SDC Honda. The leader lapping at 1 minute 16 seconds. Marshall there, number 11 from Rugby in Lincolnshire. And behind him is Wayne Gardner, and this is the picture from the helicopter. A little bit of a technical problem there. Let's hope this sorts itself out, and Gardner chasing Roger Marshall. There is number 11, Roger Marshall. He is in 2nd place. Wayne Gardner is in 3rd position now. Rob McElnay is up now into 4th position, and Paul Lewis, obviously unnerved a little bit, maybe has dropped back to 5th spot.
And this really is a great ride from Roger Marshall, number 11, because his bike may look the same as number 7 Wayne Gardner's, but Marshall's on the sort of standard 3-cylinder Honda, being chased by Gardner on the works version of the same machine. Gardner's tyres are also the latest radial Dunlops, and he's closing right up on Marshall now as they come to the chicane.
And here's the helicopter shot. This is from Wayne Gardner's bike as they come through the chicane, right on the tail of Roger Marshall, and we go past. Wayne Gardner goes past, and Wayne Gardner shakes his head, but Marshall's got back on the inside line. Maybe Gardner's not got it yet. No, he's not. Marshall's back, and back we are again with the helicopter shot. This is live pictures with Marshall in front, number 11, Wayne Gardner, who's got the camera mounted on the Rothmans Honda machine. This is the scrap for 2nd and 3rd place. And Gardner looking for the inside line again, and he's got it this time. A favourite overtaking place for Wayne Gardner. He's passed many people over the seasons at the Donington Park at that spot, and he's now got his nose ahead of Roger Marshall. And whether or not he can catch Ron Haslam remains to be seen, but as we heard in the pre-race interview, Wayne is happy, I'm sure, to settle for 12 points, and Haslam has gone over the start and finish line as they come underneath the Dunlop bridge. So that's the advantage for the race leader as Wayne Gardner goes into the chicane. Behind is Rob McElnay getting closer and closer, and Keith Hewen having an excellent ride on the STC Honda. He's got ahead of Paul Lewis now, and right behind him number 31 Alan Jeffrey. The lead for Haslam now 15.3 seconds. We're looking at the battle for second and third and fourth places with Wayne Gardner, Roger Marshall and Rob McElnay. McElnay, of course, on the Skull Bandit Suzuki. So we have Rothman's Honda machines first, second and third, and the Skull Bandit Suzuki in fourth position. Well, as Peter was saying, this is an excellent ride from Roger Marshall. He's on basically a production three-cylinder Honda. It's one of the Honda Britain machines, but it's certainly not the same sort of specification as the bike being ridden by the two men ahead of them.
McElnay. Oh, Marshall had a big slide then. That was another back-end slide, and Marshall looks down at his machine, wonders if there might be a problem, and that's McElnay's cue to go past, pulls alongside him on the brakes down to the chicane.
And side by side, and obviously McElnay on the better line. Marshall has to pull in behind. McElnay through to third place, Marshall in fourth position. McElnay is third. Marshall again looks for the inside line. He's got a good line, but not good enough this time because Rob McElnay hangs on. And there's the race leader carving his way cleanly through on the inside of a lapped man. And Ron Haslam, 29 years of age today, and looking good for victory in this first part of, as I said before, what he hopes will be a double. We have the King of Donington race here at Donington tomorrow, and Ron would like to collect that title. For a man who lives just 10 minutes from the circuit, that's probably very reasonable. And there is the photograph from Wayne Gardner's machine. The wheelie there, you saw the sky come clearly into view. The camera mounted in the fairing of Wayne's Honda through the chicane. He's chasing Haslam, but Haslam's a long way in front of him. There is Gardner into Redgate. Well, it's been an excellent year for Wayne Gardner, of course. It's been his first full season of Grand Prix racing, and he's seized the opportunity with both hands. 3 third places so far this year, 4th in the World Championship table. And this likeable, cheerful Australian character has had a great season so far, and there are every signs that that's going to continue. Wollongong in New South Wales, the hometown of Wayne Gardner, but now he lives a very close neighbour to Roger Marshall at Rugby in Lincolnshire. And there is Gardner. A lonely and impossible task, I would say, but of course we do remember in April at the Easter meeting in this opening round when Haslam had got a lead that was comfortable and clear-cut, and nasty worrying moment there as Roland Brown, one of the racing journalists, a bit like yourself, Peter, gets in the way of Wayne Gardner.
Yes, there's no doubt that Roland didn't see or hear Wayne coming, and almost got in his way by accident. Wayne putting a little bit of a wheelie there, and if you look down in the bottom right hand of the picture, you can see the rev counter, which is actually how the rider tells how fast the engine is going, and you can see it swishing around at 10 and 11,000 RPM. As it swings up towards 11, 12, he changes gear, and it swings back again, and that's how the rider knows exactly what the engine is doing all the way through the race.
The live camera then on Wayne Gardner's bike as he lies in second place in this, the second round of the World of Sport Superbike Challenge. We're back now watching Wayne in action from one of our other cameras. getting a little closer. 14 seconds the gap, and it was considerably more than that early on. And Robert McElnay and Roger Marshall. There is Ron Haslam. Well, there's a man in a hurry. Carves his way past those two slow men. Number 64, Vince Field, showing the way to go around Redgate as Haslam hurtles on his way, and the gap down half a second gone. But with 10 laps gone, it's just over the halfway stage. Ron still with a reasonable amount in hand, but we have seen Ron suffer in many races this year, including the Grand Prix, when he has a superb start, and then things have begun to ease off, cool down for him, and Ron has slipped back down the field. No problems so far this time.
And it's quite apparent that the track isn't wet, that the little shower that we had at the beginning of the race didn't cause any problems. And you can see that Ron's using all angle of lean as he accelerates down the straight there on the Honda. So no problems with grip for Haslam on the Honda number 5.
Haslam then, bike number 5, your race leader, coming around to complete 11 through the chicane for the 11th time. No problems, lifts of his knee there, you saw that clearly, to avoid smacking his knee down, and Ron in fact suffered that fate at the Yugoslavian Grand Prix last weekend. You see his knee down touching the tarmac there. Well, it clouted the upraised curb marker and certainly gave Ron a very nasty pain, and the lead back up to 14.16 seconds. So maybe Haslam balked perhaps by one of the tail ends of the previous lap, but certainly with a lead of more than 14 seconds, and he really looks as though he's riding as hard as if he was at the back end of the field, having made a mistake trying to catch up, Peter.
Yes, he's riding really well, and these riders all have plastic pads. You can see the white pad take to his knee, and it's now scraping on the ground, and if they choose a line that takes them too near the curb, they actually have to pick their knee up, because if it's all right sliding across the smooth tarmac, but if it clouts one of the concrete track edging markers, it can be pulled back and given a nasty wrench.
And Ron Haslam then just overtaking Gary Lingham on the Myers Motor Suzuki. Gary struggling to hit the sort of form that he showed when he rode for the British team here at Donington in April, and Lingham just been overtaken then by Haslam, and we're waiting now. Coming underneath the bridge, the third man in this group. There is Gardner going through. Big wheelie there. Well, Wayne's enjoying himself. It may mean he's not catching Ron Haslam, but as ever, he's out to A, enjoy himself, and B, entertain the crowd, and he does that in no small measure. A very spectacular man. A little wheelie with the machine cranked over on the right. Gardner in second place, bike number 7. The young Australian, 26 years of age. And just watch the front wheel. The number of times you can see air between that front wheel and the road surface. And as I say that, it keeps it firmly on the deck, but on the sweep down Trainer Curve and Hollywood, lots of space. There he goes, up in the air again on cue. And here we've got the camera from Wayne Gardner's bike, a live camera showing the action down the back straight underneath the Dunlop Bridge. And a big wheelie there from Wayne Gardner.
And of course the wheelie generated because the engine has so much power that it, in trying to drive the machine forward, it actually finds it easier to lift up the front wheel than push the bike forward faster. So it does both at the same time, pulling the front wheel way up in the air, which of course the rider has to try and compensate by pulling himself up onto the petrol tank so that it doesn't get out of control.
So with Wayne Gardner in second position, chasing Ron Haslam, a quick look down the leaderboard as it stands at the end of the 13th lap. In third position, Rob McElnay. In fourth place, Roger Marshall. In fifth position, number 16, Keith Ewan on the STC Honda. That's a good ride from him. Then Paul Lewis, number 22, on the Skull Bandit Suzuki. In seventh place, number 31, Alan Jeffrey. And a good ride from that young Melton Mowbray man. In 8th place at the moment, number 18, Graham Wood. In 9th position, number 9, Roger Burnett. And in 10th place, number 42, Ray Swan on Colin Aldridge's Suzuki. Back now in the big show. is Wayne Gardner. Here he comes. Well, he's trying hard too. Underneath the straight, another wheelie over the track, just crests a little hill there, and as Gardner goes over that, a little wheelie from the Honda machine. So, for both Ron Haslam, bike number 5, and this man, number 7, Wayne Gardner. And these two men have been deadly rivals in every race this year, starting with South Africa and going through to everything else. 16 seconds though, the gap between Ron Haslam and Wayne Gardner. And of course, Wayne on the 3rd row of the grid at the start, Haslam in pole position, taking full advantage of his start. And Ron Haslam, of course, sponsored amongst other people by the Donington 100 Motorcycle Club, one of the local organisations here, and of course by a local printing firm, Howard's Printing. So Ron has every reason to try to do his very best and to put on a good show here at Donington Park. And Haslam goes through. It's the end of the 15th lap. 3 more laps to go for Ron Haslam.
And as we watch Ron Haslam, number 5 now, you can see that riding a motorcycle is all to do with where you put your weight. As I say, pulling forward to keep the front wheel on the ground as it gives a little lift there, but still sliding off to the inside of the corner. Now he'll pick his weight up and move it the other side of the bike, pulling the bike across after him through the left-hand corner. Then again, as he changes down, a flick of the wrist and pulls the weight across through the right-hand corner, all using his weight to pull the motorcycle around, lean it into the corners and get his weight right to the inside of the track. And flipping the throttle there as he changes, that takes the load off the gears so that he can change down through the gearbox smoothly.
So Haslam well out in front, more than 16 seconds advantage for Haslam as he finds his way past number 68, Howard Selby. And the difference in speed between some of the lower runners in this race and men like Haslam and Gardner, quite staggering. Haslam then in front by a mile almost. 16 seconds is an awful long way around this Donington Park circuit. Haslam goes through into Redgate. We wait now to see where Wayne Gardner is, and that looks like him emerging. And a nasty weave there on the Honda. Gardner, though, of course, shrugs it off. It's all the same. I like it when he slides, he says. Gary Lingham going through, and here is the battle between Rob McElnay and Roger Marshall for 3rd and 4th place. Number 33, Rob McElnay, and number 11, Roger Marshall. Well, we saw Marshall in 2nd place, then he had that nasty slide, but they've been battling close together for most of the race. 16 laps done in this 18-lap battle.
Now, although number 33 McElnay leading number 11 there, number 33 McElnay riding a work Suzuki, it's rather an old engine design, and the two bikes are fairly evenly matched. That's the Skull Bandit Suzuki with the frame, the carbon fibre, very special frame, built in England with the Association of Ciba-Geigy, leading the all-Japanese bike bar the Dunlop tyres on Marshall's bike that's behind.
Well, what part of this Lincolnshire battle? Wayne Gardner, of course, living at Rugby in Lincolnshire. Rob McElnay from Brigg, South Humberside, and Roger Marshall, also from Rugby, and Gary Lingham getting about to get the treatment from both Rob McElnay and Roger Marshall as they complete their 17th lap. And there is Ron Haslam. He's on his last lap now. 18.5 seconds the lead at the end of the 17th lap, and Haslam then on his final circuit about to knock 15 points, but with Wayne Gardner almost certainly going to take 2nd place and add 12 to the score that he had from the opening round. It still makes life very, very difficult for Ron Haslam, and he's going to have to hope for a small miracle in the 3rd and final round later this year. So Haslam out in front, just the back straight and the chicane to go. fine ride from Ron Haslam. The first of the Donington double that he's looking for. He's got this one in the bag just as chicane to go, and then he wants to win the King of Donington title tomorrow. And a wheelie, just a little one, and a bigger one there, a wheelie of celebration. Ron Haslam is the winner, and a wave, and Gardner is about, and here comes Gardner behind the Slough man. No need to hurry, can take his time, and a big wheelie from Gardner. He takes second place, and we wait to see who is it going to be third between McElnay and Marshall. It's McElnay, Rob McElnay in third, and Roger Marshall is fourth. Haslam then the winner, a tremendous performance, and the first part of what he hopes will be a great double. Haslam the winner, then his teammate Wayne Gardner, the other member of the Rothmans Honda Britain Grand Prix squad, finishing in second position. Then Rob McElnay, the Skull Bandit Suzuki, in third spot, and in fourth, and Ron Haslam, so busy looking at where Wayne Gardner was, he actually ran on the grass. Oh dear, what a mistake, silly me, says Ron Haslam. Well, that really was a rare mistake, but fortunately mistake made after the race was over. No mistakes at all during that 18-lap battle for the 29-year-old birthday boy. So, a fine win from Ron Haslam. A reminder that Wayne Gardner second, Rob McElnay third, Roger Marshall fourth. Back to the studio.
And there's the result of round two. Certainly the first two places taken by Honda, and Rob McElnay coming up at a third.